Hello everybody, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online, the SLOTRO 2 edition. This is Gnomadan. Say hello to everyone, Gnomadan.
Ha ha!
Indeed. When we left off, we were over here near Captain Grimbriar's cottage. Here, just on the very southern end of the Greenway, just before it runs into the Great East Road over there. We were talking to Lofar. We have taken the adventures of the Stolen Blade about as far as we can go. We'd have to go over there and rescue the daughter, and I don't think we can do that. We discussed that at the end of the last episode about how we just barely managed to accomplish it on Gnarlo when she was like level 16 or 17 with her bear tanking for her. So I don't think we can do that quite ready yet for that here with Gnomadan. But we are going to see if we can finish up some of the ones that we have here. We are going to go the Vale of Goods first and go and collect the stolen goods at the Bandits' Watch down the, well, I would say down the road, but I think we'll cut across the field instead. That will probably make it a little bit shorter for us. I hope you all have been doing well. I have been at work for, obviously, I told y'all I would be there for almost a week, and by God I was. It really went on, but you get that point. It's a strange thing about that job is I noticed I get the same thing I would get to the same point in the pharmacy when I used to work in the pharmacy there at the hospital. Is that back then, our normal shift was we would work 1 week on and we'd work 1 week off. 7 days on and 7 days off. Split over the weekend. So you'd work Wednesday to Wednesday with the split on the weekend, so you didn't get any overtime. You had 40 hours in one week and 40 hours in the other week. But you worked them like 20 hours at the end of 1 week and 20 hours at the end of the next one. And that's how the hours fell. And during that period of time, by day 4 or 5, you really had forgotten, essentially, that you did anything else. It just got to the point you got up, you went to work. That's how it went. And that's the way it felt this time, is that by day 4, I was just getting up and going to work. Day 5 and day 6, it had been to the point where it was like, how many days have I been working now? You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell if you had been working, if you had worked 4 days or if this was your second day. It was just all kind of blurring into each other there after a while. It was a really strange experience, and a really strange experience to be feeling that again this time. Let's see, let's take on the skirmishers since they're going to be firing arrows at us. But I was glad it was peculiar that we had that happen again, but I am also very glad that we are done with that particular stretch of our time here. And that we are able to get back to gaming and get back to Lotro. I've been looking forward to that. I've been looking forward to doing some more of the trucking as well and getting some other games going now that I'm no longer having to truck every day to finish off a crate filled with stolen goods from caravans driven by. We'll have to see what that is when we get to the next crate. Now that I'm no longer having to spend all my time at work, and now that I'm no longer having to drive, just about every day in order to finish up all the deliveries in time to get our Christmas sock. We got our Christmas sock in the last episode over there, episode 60. And that is well and truly taken care of. So no more mandatory trucking. And don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun. It wasn't like, oh my dear God, I've got to go trucking again. It wasn't that kind of situation. But it was a situation where I felt like I have to do, I might want to do something else today, but I have to do this. Because if I don't, I'll just end up, having to do a whole bunch of stuff right at the end. I was going to say, what the heck happened there? Like that shot just went flying off into the wilderness. Let's see if we can we draw you down the hill here? There. Like you didn't know where to find us there. It being just over the top of that little rise there, we were having some really weird little graphics and hitboxes there, weren't we? Alright, I am going to hold off here. I'm also going to turn this on so that when we're not in combat, we'll be moving fast again. Along that, I happened to put up an episode right on the day that Christopher Tolkien died. I did not find out that he had died until later that evening. So that's why I did not mention it at the time. It is a shame, of course. It really is. I saw a magazine article, I say magazine. Remember, nowadays, all the everything online is where the magazines are. It's where all the articles are and everything else, you know. So, can we get you? I bet we can. And we'll cut you on down to size. Sooner or later, God will cut you down. Yes, indeed, we can. So let's get these three. Let's see what it says. A crate filled with stolen goods from caravans driven from the south or farms scattered throughout Breeland. And let's go ahead and grab them. It was a shame. The article I was reading was talking about the last inhabitant of Middle Earth. And it was from an interview he did a while back, stating that, you know, he grew up with these stories. He grew up with these stories his entire life. And that he truly, as he says that the cities of Middle Earth, places like Gondolin and Minas Tirith and Numenor and all those places actually are more real to him than the cities like Babylon and Baghdad and places that he's never seen, because he spent all his life in these cities here and learning about these places. They were all real places to him. And it's amazing that and he devoted his life to it. You know, he spent the rest of his life working to maintain his father's legacy and ensure that the books were treated well and all that sort of thing, which is, I have mixed feelings. I will readily admit that I have mixed feelings, not about his death. I'm very sad about that. But mixed feelings. Ooh, there's, you can see right up there's where the daughter is. There's the cage door, Blade for Life. And you see how much trouble we're having just taking on two of these at a time. Just taking on the outlaw and like an archer at the same time. Watch what happens when we take them on. How much damage we take. Taking on just an archer shooting at us while we got the other guy held up, you know. So, Aldous Oathbearer. Okay, we're not going to take on Aldous. We'll probably take on, I'm thinking about taking on that one. I greatly admire and respect everything he did. I admire and I am truly highly thankful for all the effort he put into making sure that his father's books were available to us, to coming out, and all the work he did in the histories of Middle Earth, the last 3 books that he wrote, you know, the Baron and Luthien, the Silmarillion, of course. What was it? The Children of Hurin? Is that the other one? Wonderful, wonderful books all. And an incredible amount of work in trying to bring these books, shape these books into a form that you know, his father might actually recognize them, much less have published them that way, because he's spoken before about what a condition the books were in. Can we get this without waking him? I think we can. Alright, that's got all the stolen goods, so we're going to see if we can get back now. guess we could actually... Could we map back to Bree? Let's do that, rather than fight our way on back, because I would like to see if I can get down to the Andrath Vale done today, too. We've already been 10 minutes, so rather than spend the next 10 minutes just running back over there, let's prance back to the Prancing Pony. So he did a remarkable job and all that, and I am thankful. Although, as I have pointed out, his father did not believe in that sort of thing. You remember that his father's got a quote where it talks about digging into sources and influences and all that. His father's got a quote, which I got to paraphrase because I don't know the exact quote and can't look it up right this moment, but it's either in one of his letters or it's in maybe the forward... Could be in like the forward to the Lord of the Rings or something like that, where he talks about if you enjoy a good meal, you don't turn around and ask the cook to come to the table and bring you the bones and peelings to see how the meal was made. You just enjoy the meal, and that was his philosophy on literature and stories. You didn't ask to see all the influences and rough drafts and all this other stuff. So I'm glad that he did it. Don't read me wrong. I'm glad that Christopher Tolkien released basically every piece of paper that J.R.R. ever blew his nose on. But it's not what his father actually believed in. So we've got that. That isn't my issue. My issue comes from he was a bit too much of a purist, especially toward the end of his life. And I believe it can be understood from that very, very fact that, as I said, he grew up in Middle-earth. He grew up and lived in a realm and in a world and in a mindset where these places were essentially real places to him. You know, these might as well have been real ancient history to him. And I can understand that. I mean, seriously, places like Bree here and the Shire are essentially just as real to me. You know, the war for Middle-earth, Aragorn and Frodo, is, you know, in a real sense, are just as real to me as Abraham Lincoln or Ben Franklin or Agamemnon are, because they all existed before I existed. So all I've done is hear about them. There's nobody alive who knew them, whoever experienced them. It's history to everybody. So the stories are just stories. They have been written down. Their histories are passed on. So Middle-earth is the same way. So I can understand his, you know, and him being that he actually, quote unquote, lived in Middle-earth. He was a primary source, got it straight from God's mouth, handed down to him in the form of his father. I think he took that, he's an old school literature person, in that literature is sacred, and I believe that he almost felt like the books were handed down from Mount Sinai, carved into stone, because, you know, he hated the fact that movies were made of them and games were made of them, and that he thought that any disruption from the book was a dilution of the books, much like in a similar, greater and lesser way. In a greater way, but for a less good cause, let's say the toxic Star Wars fans who can't enjoy the prequels or can't enjoy the sequels for what they are. They can't just sit and watch them because, oh, it rapes my childhood. It's like, no, it doesn't. Go away, fella. You know, those people. And I'm talking about that is the toxic fans, these toxic super fans are the ones I'm talking about, not Christopher. And Christopher, this probably actually does affect his memories of his childhood, because no, you're getting that all wrong, that sort of thing. So he's a last of the perhaps if we say purist in that respect, a dying breed of purists that believes that literature is sacred and all that kind of thing. I, on the other hand, it's like there are plenty of mistakes here, you know, mistakes in quotes, air quotes here for Middle-earth that
What can I do for you?
All right, let's look at the flow of goods right quick. The there are plenty of the mistakes or the things that this game doesn't do correctly. Is that the same one? Yep, that is the exact same thing. If you are going into the land of the brigands' encampment here in Breeland, can you search for the goods they have stolen for the surrounding farms and from shipments along the roadways? While Bree is not suffering terribly at the moment, it is only a matter of time before the current stores are empty. If the brigands continue their assaults, then there will be no food, ale, or anything to appease the Bree folk, and they will have much to worry about. Will you not look out for the stolen goods while in their camp? For instance, think of my last episode where you have Gnarlo running around attending the turning of Theoden, King Theoden, back to the light. You know, he's there, and then, you know, none of the books mention this little hobbit being there and walking around and talking to everyone and then going help Eowyn getting stuff out of Grima's. You know, he would have hated that. Absolutely despised that. So it's you know, he did much. I just don't believe that the legacy of the books has to be protected that firmly and that vehemently, that puristly, you know, as it is. So that's my only thing, and the fact that, you know, as they say, it's and you've seen it already. The fact when he retired from the head of the Tolkien estate 2 years ago, back in 2017, when he retired as the head of the Tolkien estate, you immediately started seeing like the Amazon, the Middle Earth series that Amazon is producing now, that essentially takes place I think it's taking place between The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring. Is that correct? I haven't spent too much time looking into it, because it's like the Star Wars movies. I don't want the story spoiled for me. It's like, okay, here's an actual Tolkien story, or Tolkien-esque, not a Tolkien story, but a story set in the lands of Middle Earth that is new. Maybe take some information from the other stuff, but I don't know what's happening in it. It's not like the Lord of the Rings, where I know, you know, I've read them literally 50-something times, or The Hobbit, which I've literally read over 100 times, and know the story. I forget little details, but I know the story. This is something new, so I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, but the Amazon thing that only got green-lighted after he left. And they're actually talking about possibly one day, maybe some of the things in the Silmarillion actually making it onto video. I won't say film, because nobody uses film anymore, but video. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm very sad at his passing. It is the passing of an era, the passing of the thing. But so I'm kind of torn about his legacy a little bit. I think the positive aspects of his legacy, don't get me wrong, the positive aspects far outweigh any of the negative feelings that I have, as far as his over purity of his feelings of his father's work. But, you know, there you are. I think, I compare it kind of like, I was talking to someone the other day, I compare it kind of like you see with Sam Walton. When Sam Walton died and was no longer the head of the Walton family, it was almost overnight that you started seeing R-rated movies and unedited record albums in Walmart, because they didn't sell R-rated movies and unedited record albums. You know, he kept that dirty rap stuff out of his stores while he was alive. But as soon as he passed, they were able to move Walmart into the 20th century, and I think we'll see that perhaps. Let's not get into the 20th century. I'm not trying to say that about Christopher as well, about Mr. Tolkien as well, because it wasn't that. It was, you know, people with a far more let's be cynical. People with a far more mercenary, let's make more money aspect will take over, and you'll see in that respect a move into the 20th and 21st century, that people are going to start being a lot more liberal with the intellectual property, we can say. And maybe the 20th century mindset of that doesn't erase the books. The books are still the books. They're not going away. It's just like the folks, once George Lucas is no longer allowed to continue editing, once George Lucas passes, Let's hope that's not for a while. But once George Lucas passes and is no longer allowed to continue editing the A New Hope Chapter 4, maybe we'll finally get a version of Chapter 4, Episode 4, where Han shoots, not only first, but only Han shoots, like it was in the original. That sort of thing. Oh, where are we? This would do nicely. Bree is in dire need of new supplies, and this would do well to sate the populace. Without this, who is to know what terrible madness would have befallen the people of Bree? Here, we are indebted to your help. All right, completed the flow of goods. Now let's go down the Vale of Andrath. Find and speak to Grimbriar scouts. That's what we would do now. And I ended up talking for quite a while there myself. I think it would have almost been just as quick to run back from the Brigand's Watch, wouldn't it? I think it might have been, rather than to run over to the pony and talk, because I ended up talking just as much anyway. So yeah, a sad thing having Mr. Christopher Tolkien die there. And I will give him full honor and respect that he deserves. And Mr. Tolkien. Yeah, that's sad news. So, let's head on down the path here. As far as my future plans and my stewardship of the LOTRO and SLOTRO series is here. I'm not so much of a purist. If anyone wants to give me tons of money, I will certainly give tons of money, and we'll go play chicken ball and nothing else. And I will see if we can find some mods to put your advertising. AutoZone, you want an ad right there? Sure, give me some money. We'll see if we can get an ad for AutoZone. We're going right there. Oh, but no, in all seriousness, I am off for the next. This is my first night of either 6 or 7. So we are definitely going to get a few more of these episodes up. I'm going to try and get one a day. So we'll see a Gnomadan, we'll see a Narwane, we'll see another Gnarlo, a Gnomadan, a Narwane, and a Gnarlo while I am off this little stretch here. So expect 2 episodes of each during the next 6 or 7 nights. Spread out over the next 6 or 7 nights. Let's be clear about that, because I also want to get another stuff. Later today, I am going to play Doom. Get another episode of Doom. Get up that tower. That was something I had planned to do while I was off that last little 12-day stretch, but never got to, because suddenly I had to get those truck deliveries done. But now that nothing on the trucking side has to be done, it's just back to pure playing for enjoyment. I will get another episode up of my G-Bub Drives Trucks, but that is going to be just a regular episode. It's going to drop back to only a weekly type series as well. And in addition, Mindfiend and I are playing the board games and stuff. We are looking at Gloomhaven. It's another one of these long campaign legacy type games, but not quite. We've got to learn how to play it, and not quite as exclusively as we've played Pandemic Legacy over the last almost year, I would say, where we worked on trying to get, because Pandemic Legacy is a game where you play anywhere from 12 to 24 times. There's 12 months in the game, and you have to either win, if you're essentially trying to win each particular month, and you play it once, and if you don't win that month, you play that month a second time. And then if you win that month, you go on to the next one. And if you lose that month, you go on to the next one. But win or lose has different consequences for the next month. If you win it, let's say you win in January, you get a bonus for going into February. And if you lose in January, you get a different kind of lesser bonus for going into February to help you along. So that we have played through the entire campaign, the entire 12 months. And I was hoping to get a lot of those edited and started up. So that is going to be something you'll see over the next couple of months as well, as I try to edit our campaign and get it into a watchable form. So here we are. Let's talk to Watcher Brittleleaf here. Now, let's look at the history of the Vale of Andrath. The Vale of Andrath is Breeland's great way to the south. The South Downs, Dunland, Isengard, the Gap of Rohan, all would be closed to Breeland if the brigands are not hindered. It is clear that Sharkey is no mere brigand leader. He has employed half-breeds to fill his ranks, a wholly depraved act. I sent my men to watch the ruins at Andrath, and fear they may now be prisoners, or worse. Please head south beyond the Greenway Crossing, further beyond the shadow of the Barrows, and seek my scouts, Oakdale and Brittleleaf. Hopefully they will have found a safe place close to the ruins, likely on the eastern side. Be swift, for I fear the worst, and bring caution with you. That's likely to be a bad place. Indeed.
How can I be of service?
As we saw out there, all those guards we had to pass through just getting up here to the guard tower, to their little place. Greenbrier finally sent support. We've been wondering if he'd forgotten us. When we arrived, we found a far larger force than anticipated, and knew that we could not desert the post. Already we have seen these fiends performing terrible acts. We must remain resolute and carry out our duties. Indeed. Okay. So we will pick up these two. We'll wait and pick up these quests next time so that they'll be fresh in our mind. We already... You know, I'm sitting here standing here. Oh, I was going to say I've never seen that ruin before, but that's the Barrow Downs over there, isn't it? Yes. It's like right there is the Dead Man's Perch, I believe. Over there is the Barrow with the entrance where you can get in and out. It used to be the only entrance on this side, but you can actually work your way up to the Dead Man's Perch now. So that was the Barrow, and that is the fortress. I can't remember which one it is, but there's a fortress right there in the Barrows that you... overrun with wights and spirits that you can go there and do some quest also. So yeah, that's the one. I was like, whoa, I've never seen that ruin before. Yes, we have. So there you go. That's where we are gonna leave off here at the Scouts Post. Just at the gate here at the Andrath. So hope y'all have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it. Good to be back in Middle Earth again after a little break there. Once again, rest in peace, Mr. Tolkien. You've done wonderful things. We've got so much more knowledge and background and so much more richness here in this world because of your efforts and the things that you've done to preserve your father's writings. And God bless you for it. I hope you enjoy the peace you have earned. So we will leave that there. I thank you for coming along. Gnomadan thanks you too. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.